Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, I need to flock this these battalions, and once I flock these battalions, that will actually finish off Foy's division and Jerome's division. They will be completely finished. And I'll go ahead and do like a highlight on them later tonight so that I can upload it. I got a little piece of energy bar, Promax protein bar, cookies and cream in my mouth to give me the energy to do this. Okay. It looks like Go For It says hello. Hey, Go For It. You're one of my regulars, and I appreciate you coming and checking me out and saying hello and hanging out with me while I do my work. Okay. I'm going to be doing some things a little bit differently today. I'm going to experiment on maybe a couple of battalions just to see what it's all about. These top two battalions, 2nd of the 108 and the 3rd of the 4th Light. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try putting this summer flock from AK. I'm going to try using this just as an experiment. I know it's going to be okay. It's just I want to just see. It's going to be AK, but I want to see what it looks like going forward, you know. But part of that experiment is also going to be, I'm reaching down, using Mod Podge as the scenic cement instead of my traditional Elmers. Now, as you can see, that gallon jug will go a long way. But I'm going to need something like this at my desk so that I can work it, right? I don't want to have to carry that gallon jug around with me everywhere I go. If I had an empty tacky glue bottle, which I think I actually do, I should probably go, because I think I saved it in anticipation of needing it for something else. So if I had an empty tacky glue, I can just write on the bottle, you know, Mod Podge or whatever, and use it instead. I also have an empty-ish, I mean, it's got a little bit of this scenic texture in there. This is what I used on all these figures. And when it got really low, I mean, down to the bottom of this label, right? I went ahead and poured it into this bad boy, right? And this thing is up to the brim. It is filled. Okay. So going forward, I'll be using that one. But I could wash this out and then put Mod Podge in it. And then I would have something at my table, but downside to that as well, in that there's no way to really pour it, right? Or squeeze it out or squirt it out or anything. So I don't know if I want to use this for that purpose. So this is also empty because I finished it off doing these figures. I finished off quite a few things. I mean, I still have another one, and I've got another one en route. I could definitely do. I have a few of these type of bottles, but I think these are too fine tip for me to put like a Mod Podge glue in there. Waters and washes and stuff would be fine. I thought about putting it in something like this, but I think it would dry up. I would have to have a way to seal the bottle. So I might do this, even though this isn't very much at all. This wouldn't last me very long. I don't think. Maybe it would. But we're going to push that off to the side. Now, I took a look at this summer flock already. I've already opened it up and took a gander at it. Looks pretty good. I mean, I think it's got a good color. Now the problem with that is I don't have a big wide-brimmed tub. I mean, I could go get one. I don't know if I've got an empty one. I don't think I do. So I'm going to have to use a box. So when I sprinkle the Statigrass, it'll go in the box, and then I'll take the box and I'll put it in there. Right. Okay, now this is my normal mixture because it's got talus mixed in it, right? And it's got like a good color, but we're gonna hold off on using that. We're gonna use the summer flock, but we're also gonna use a little bit of coarse brown. What's the word I'm looking for? Not maybe ballast, right? And we'll do a little sprinkle of that. We'll do a little sprinkle of that, and then we'll see what they look like. Okay, before we get started, I'm gonna mix up in my little medicine cup. I've got like 20 of these. Anytime we have medicine in the house and we go through the bottle, I save these cups, right? Like Pepto-Bismol or some kind of Robitussin or something. I would save those specifically for situations like this. Okay, so let's mix up a little bit of Mod Podge. What am I going to call it? Terrain sealer. Okay, I'm only busting off a little piece right there so that it could pour cleaner, I think. I don't know. Maybe I should pop a hole on the top to let air in. Screw that, right? All right. I don't know how easily this is going to pour. Another thing, my water to Mod Podge mix is going to be 50-50, right? 50-50 is what they say. 50-50. That's a very little bit of amount because it's really a test still, remember. Okay, I think it's time for me to glove up. Going to be Mr. Glover. And I've used these gloves all week. Reusing them constantly. Now, if this didn't give it away, I did get in my Hobby Link order. It has come in. Now I am still waiting for my AK order. But there are a number of things that I can do on my terrain boards until I get the AK stuff in. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a mix. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to get this situated. I've got my back door open as well. I hope this flock doesn't go flying around. I don't feel any kind of breeze or anything. If it does, I'll have to go close that door. Ooh, and I also want to make, yeah, these should be good. Now, when I put the glue down, I usually try not to cover the base. I give it it's not 100% coverage. I try to give it a little bit of a gap. Yeah, I don't know if this isn't going to work. One thing I did notice immediately is that this flock is not, I mean, it's very easy to pinch and sprinkle. Now the downside I feel is it's too shiny. still think maybe my original colors are still the best. But we're going to test it. We're going to look at it. I'm not only testing the Mod Podge, as a cement. But I'm also testing the color. Yeah, this tub is just too narrow fisted. I'm going to have to put it in something a little bit wider like this. Doing this with gloves is a little unusual for me. I've never did flock sprinkles with gloves on. So I don't think I'm getting the control that I want. There we go. Let's do that. See if that does it. Because I just don't have the feel for it, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah. Okay, I don't have any room to work. Thing is in my way. I think I might need to put just a little bit more Mod Podge on there. I feel like the 50-50 is just a little bit too thin. You know what we'll do? We'll add just a smidge of Mod Podge. Because I think I overfilled it with water anyway. I think that was my bad. I had a line I was going to because these are measuring cups. And I think I went over it. Okay. I don't know if that's even made a dent in this mixture. Guess we'll see as I apply it. It kind of does look like it made a dent. Now, if I missed anywhere with the brown texture, like either on the base or on the figure's feet, I make sure that I touch it with some of this white glue so that it will be covered and hidden. Now, normally I put this Elmer's in one of my palettes holes, but since I was working with the gallon of Mod Podge, I figured I'd use one of these medicine cups. And I could just take this medicine cup and just toss it when I'm done, or I could wash it if I was being a miser. But I have like 20 of them, so. And it looks like this static grass is falling pretty straight down. That's good. No breezes going on. Now I had this package today that I needed to ship out, and it was a couple of Victrix packs, right? And you know the Victrix 28 millimeter models come in these bags, but they're pretty sizable bags. And this guy ordered 2 of them, so I had to find a box that was big enough, which I did. It was an old eBay box that not eBay, Amazon box that I had, and I wasn't sure if it was going to fit in the mailbox. And I just went out there a few minutes ago, and it fit nicely. Not just that, all the other boxes fit in there with it. Now, one thing this setup right here doesn't have is the talus. It has the brown ballast, but not the talus. So there's no big rocks. If it works out really good, I might set it up where there are big rocks. Okay, that's a whole battalion. Now, I don't really anticipate using this color, to be very honest. I got it because I was going to put it on my terrain boards in various locations. Or maybe some. I'm planning on making some flexible roads and rivers for sale. I've already ordered the rubber base. what do you call it, silicone for the water effects. I've got some brown house paint for the base color. Yeah, what I plan to do is get some rubber, right? 2 mil. So almost as thick as these, oh, just slightly thicker than these bases, actually. Because these bases are 1.6 mil. And then just paint it brown, right? Uh, with some acrylic latex house paint. But and really that's all you got to do, right? You don't even have to flock it or anything. But I want it to have a little bit of road texture. Now, something I learned a long time ago when I was doing my Napoleon's battles uh, miniatures. Actually, I played a game called Battlefront. Um, Not the company Battlefront, but the game Battlefront. And it's a World War II game. And you put your figures on like 30 millimeter bases, uh, whatever scale figure you want. So you could put a couple of 1/72 figures on there. You could put a handful of 15s, or you could put like a slew of micro armor 6 mil guys, because that base represents a platoon, very similar to Command Decision. But what I would do, this is before I really, this is before I really, what's the word, committed to like texture paste. I would paint the base, and there was a time that I switched to like, especially when I was playing with 1/72 scale figures, because they have giant bases around their feet. I would putty in between the bases and kind of give the figure base kind of a, or I should say the maneuver base, kind of a flatter texture or whatever. You wouldn't see the figure bases because the putty and all that. Um, which is really good. But before I did that, before I jumped into the whole putty thing, what I used to do is paint the base brown and the figure bases brown, and then I would go over it with a tan, and I would just paint squiggly marks all over it. And then I would go in and flock it. So there was a illusion that there was texture underneath the block. Because in some areas, like I do, the base would shine through, right? But only in certain areas. And a lot of times, when it shines through, you'll see a couple of different colors instead of just one, because of the tan squiggles that went over the entire base. Might need to pour a little more in here because I'm having a hard time gripping it. Okay. Okay, this is the last base that I'm going to use the AK flock on. One thing that by changing the color of the flock, or randomizing, I should say, changing the color of your flock on different units, what happens is they become more identifiable on the table. Like you see one unit over there, it's got the green flock, another one's got flowers, another one's got maybe a brown flock. And you don't get the figures all mixed up. So it's good to try different flocks on different units. But generally speaking, stay with the same technique, like stones and static grass. Even though the static grass is different colors. Now I noticed there was a bayonet in here. Not anymore. You see there's a little bit of a brown, a handful of those in this box. But I'm okay with that. Now when I apply static grass to my figures, of course I don't use a static grass applicator. I would say that's just ridiculous. Now, terrain boards or dioramas and stuff absolutely get your grass to stand up, but you don't need that on a miniature base. Not at this scale. Maybe at 28 millimeter or larger. Okay, that was summer. Now, it is summer in Quatre Bras. But, okay, looking down at that looks pretty good. I don't know if my focus is in or right. I think that looks pretty good. Huh. Okay. That actually does look pretty good. Even though some of the strands of grass are shiny, um, it it doesn't seem like it deters. Now I still have to shake this off, and I still have to knock off the excess. But I let it dry for about 30 minutes to an hour before I do that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Moving on. Now this is my, you can tell it's like super bright. All right. Okay. But I don't know. I just like it. I like the spring meadow. So I'm making some tea here. So let me get rid of this tea bag. I got to put some organic sugar, which is funny. You know, you hear all things like organic sugar, organic tomatoes. Hell, if it's not fake, if it's actually naturally growing, then of course it's organic. They what's the word? Appropriated the word. What they're trying to say is it doesn't have a lot of pesticides or something like that. Well, say it. Don't say organic. Say clean. But I guess clean has different connotations. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, we got a comment. Relatively rarely do I glance up at my comments, so I appreciate you. We got large Captain Rex. Lego. Hold on. What am I? I can't even read. Lego Captain Rex gives me a smiley face. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Smiley face back at you. Okay. So, a little bit of a negative, which isn't really a negative. It just means I need to put another order because I ordered from HobbyLink Woodland Scenics Blended Turf Earth Blend. I didn't realize that there was an earth blend of blended turf. I thought blended turf was the color, but apparently earth blend is the color and it's brown. Yeah, so I'm gonna go through all my blocking materials and see if I can't find my old blended turf and see exactly what color it says it is, and then reorder that color because it's almost maybe it's about 2/3 empty. So I know I want to add some more. I ordered another pack of 1 foot foam, XPS foam. So, yeah, let's just get started. So I'm ready to do more terrain boards. I mean, they're not in yet. But I also want to, now these terrain boards are going to be for me, right? I'm debating on whether or not to, I'm not going to, well, first of all, I'm not going to put an MDF board on the bottom. I'm going to double side them, right? So that you could just maybe have, now, this is where the thought process comes. I was thinking I was going to make some roads on one side of all these tiles. Every tile have a road. And the pack I ordered had 30 tiles. Right? So, okay, I got a runny nose here. So what that would do is I'd have basically 30 different roads, either straights, curvies, intersections, all different kinds of patterns. And then on the back side, have it clear. Now, I'm never going to play on anything more than a 24 tile table. So really, I only need 24 of those tiles to be clear. But I don't know. So I was thinking of cutting some of them and a very shallow cut. But basically just to give it some water. A water texture or something on some of them, and then clear on the backside. And the roads maybe have a straight on one and then a curvy on the other side, or something, basically making my own geomorphic tiles. And I also debated, well, I am going to be making some flexible roads and rivers for sale, right, on my eBay store. And they're all going to be unique because I'm not using a mold or a pattern. I'm going to be making them, everything's going to be a unique design. So when I list them, I'm going to list them in lots, like my straight lot, or my curve lot, or my intersection lot, or whatever. And then people can pick and choose which ones they need for their layout. So now I'm going to be making them for 15 millimeters because that's going to be a narrow, or I should say more narrow than a 28 mil road. Like a 15 millimeter road is going to be more narrow than a 28 millimeter road. So what that means is I can get more roads out of a piece of material that I'm ordering. So what I was getting at earlier, and then I got sidetracked with the way I painted bases, was I could take a piece of rubber, right? I can paint it brown using this acrylic latex house paint, right? Which is very flexible on its own. Anything with latex in it is going to be extremely flexible and durable. So I'd paint it and then paint texture on there, like stripes or now I got this idea from, I got the painting of texture from an old company called GeoHex. They used to have these hex-shaped tiles that had roads that was just brown paint with some tan squiggles. There was no grit or anything like that. The grass was just Woodland Scenics blended turf. And so what I'm thinking is, and you'll get to see me make it because I'm going to do it on camera. I think I'm going to do it live on one of my Wargaming weeklies. I'm going to paint it brown, and then once the brown paint is dry, I think I'm going to, this is on the tiles, because the tiles and the flex road is going to be done differently. So the tiles, I'm going to take my blue painter's tape, tape out the roads, you know, making sure that they blend or butt up against each other, you know, like geomorphic. And then once the brown paint's dried, no, I'm sorry, once I've got it taped over, then I can apply grass, just Woodland Scenics grass over the entire board, and then when I peel up the painter's tape, you'll have this brown road underneath. And then if I feel spunky, I can go in and paint ruts or whatever I need to paint to give the roads a little bit of a dual texture, just like GeoHex. But to me, if I'm gonna, and then I would use these tiles in my wargaming, World War II, 15 millimeter, or Napoleonics, or Ancients. Now I have a little bit of a conundrum. Hey, have a good day at work?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, my conundrum is a blanket versus tiles, right? Like GeoX. Or mine are going to be square because I don't have any way to cut out perfect hexes. So if I use a blanket, right, which I have on the table, or got a million different colors and shades and patterns of blankets that I would normally put under any kind of terrain that I am using just to hold everything in place. But if I need to, I could play on them, play on these blankets. I even have a blanket cut down to 4x3 specifically for Meg. And then, but when you do that, when you use a blanket, then you have to put stuff on top of the blanket for like I'm saying, these modular roads. So what I'm thinking to myself is, would it be better to just use modular roads and lay them on top of a blanket? Now, the advantage of a modular road is that I can put them anywhere facing in any direction. I can even put them parallel or, just all over the place, however I want to do it. The downside is they stick up from the blanket, right? They look like modular roads. They look like you put something on top of a blanket. And so, but a hex tile also can shift. There are seams between each tile. They both have advantages and disadvantages. Now, another advantage of a blanket with modular roads: storage. You don't have to, you can roll the roads up, but you don't have to. You could just lay them flat on your shelf or in a box. The whole reason why you make them flexible is so that if you want to roll them up, you can, or if you want them to lay on top of a hill, like a road going up and down a hill, or a river coming down a hill, like a brambling brook or something. So I think I'm going to go with modular roads, but for my own personal collection. But tiles are more convenient, right? You just lay them out, boom, boom, boom. You just align the roads and the rivers or whatever, and you're done, right? And you don't need to have a blanket. Now, one thing I did with my micro armor, because I have their terrain making system as well, they have little 4-inch hexes. I did like green on one side and snow on the other side. That way you could have snow terrain. You know, all over your board, like in those wintry times. And if you make a modular, I'm sorry, if you make, well, either modular or a blanket, you're still going to need to have little town sector squares that you lay under your buildings. So that's not a positive or a negative because it applies to both. Now, if I make a bespoke map, like specifically for Quatre Bras or something, you can put the hills, you can mold the hills directly into your tiles, which is what I'm doing right now. Or if I was, and I thought about this, this is another thing I thought about. With these tiles that I'm thinking about making, if I make them flat, I don't have to make them modular. I can make a bespoke map on each side. So if I wanted to have like a Ligny battle on one side, and then on the other side, I could have like a Waterloo something. Now, I don't plan to do Ligny, but I eventually do plan to do Waterloo. But again, I'm not doing the entire battle at battalion scale. It's just, that would just be too many units. Now, I've considered rescaling and instead of battalions, calling them brigades, like Napoleon's battles, to be able to get a larger battle in a smaller area. Still play the game exactly the same way. The game would play exactly the same way. It's just I would shrink the battlefield and we would call the units brigades. So like a division would only have like maybe 4 brigades. So in the game, it would be like 4 battalions. I'll have to figure out how I want to do that. I also am thinking that I want to just do a battalion-sized game at Waterloo, but only in a smaller area. So specific attacks that took place and not the entire front. And then if I ever go to a convention, I could actually lay out the entire Battle of Waterloo at battalion scale. That would be pretty epic. But it would also be unplayable. I would have to announce the battle ahead of time and then maybe get people to sign up or something. So you can have like a player per division or a player per corps or something. But I don't think I'm going to do that. So Hobby Link, I think they're based out of Atlanta. It usually takes them about 5 days to process the orders. And then shipping usually only takes like 2 or 3 days. So usually I get my Hobby Link stuff after about a week, 10 days, something like that. Because I'm in Tennessee, which is pretty close to Georgia. But just a little bit of news. So Warlord Games has this new game coming out that I'm going to. It's also Gale Force 9. Wait. No, not the Gale Force 9. Gale Force 9 does have one coming out. But the Warlord Games one, it's a tank battle game, but it's kind of like a tank campaign game where your crews build up skills and abilities based on how many battles they've been in and kills, I guess. I don't know, experience points, something. And the starter sets are faction specific, and you get 5 tanks across the spectrum. So you get like an early war tank, a mid war tank, a late war tank. But basically, you get 5 tanks. I think you get armored cars too, based on whichever one you pick. I'm not sure. And it's called Clash of Steel. Is it called Clash of Steel? I think it's called Clash of Steel. And I'm kind of excited for it, actually. Because I like bolt action. And these vehicles, they'll all be 28 mil, so they'll be giant vehicles. But I was thinking about getting one of each of the starter sets and then painting them up and then selling the starter set with painted models. We're getting 2 starter sets. Got to pre-order it. It's coming out in April, my understanding. And then Flames of War has their own tank, and Gale Force 9 has their own tank game coming out. But unfortunately, their tank game is fantasy. It's a post-World War II, like 1946 style game with all the super heavies, like the Tortoise and the what is it, T-26 or 29? The elephant. No, it's not an elephant. What is that? I can't remember. Mouse. Basically, all those. It basically, because they have all those models already in production, it basically just gives players a way to justify owning them. Because then you can play their tank war game. And somebody was telling me that they think the rules are going to be based on their World at War rule system, which is compatible with Flames of War, I do believe. I don't know if I'm going to order that one or not. Probably not. I'm not really into alternate reality games. You know, like a sci-fi World War One. I'm not into those kind of games. So what that usually means is I won't carry those kind of games in my store, even if they're super popular. I carry games that I would play, so I can maybe paint some of the models just to see how everything goes and stuff like that, so I can relate it to my customers. Also, if I ever just wanted to scrap. Plus, I'm not a big fan of the Flames of War ranges. I love the rules. I think the rules are really good. Very fast paced. They're kind of tournament style rules. Means they're designed to be played in a couple hours with like a battalion per side. Which is good, because then you can knock a game out pretty quickly. But the problem is the battlefield is so small traditionally, and the ranges are so small. Now I understand the need for that, you know, because you want to have a game and you don't want your tanks just immediately shooting other tanks halfway across the table. I get that. But you gotta have a little bit further range, because a rifle only shooting like 6 inches, that's not cool. Now I've considered going in and just assigning my own ranges, reworking the ranges. But I don't know if that would be if that would throw off the playability of the game. Plus, I prefer a game called Battle Group anyway. I've got Brits, Americans, Germans. I personally don't have any Russians for Battle Group. Because there's still so many units left in my British, American, and Germans that I would just never get around to doing them. There's a few things in that rule system that I love, and I've kind of used that as inspiration for my Meg game. I called it Meg. Sorry, Mag, which is Marshals and Generals. Meg has inspired me to do it. The Meg is the Ancients. It has inspired me to do certain things, and Battle Group has inspired me to do certain things. Napoleon's Battles inspired me to do a few things. Basically, I'm taking all these rule sets and finding rules in each of those sets that I like, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get them to all work together. So I'm in the middle of writing my set of rules. I think I pretty much have it written already. I just need to put some finishing touches on it, which it requires quite a few finishing touches. Terrain is what I'm working on right now for the game. The terrain effects, like how they impact the game. But combat, 90% of it I've got worked out. Command and control I've got worked out already. Issuing orders. Okay, I'm starting to get a little hot in here. Close the door. I'm gonna have to go open it up. Let me go open that door and I'll be right back. I could take the sweatshirt off, that might help, but I'm gonna open the door. Got static grass all over my pants. Now I was thinking that I could do a little bit of this terrain board working, because there's a few things I can do to it with the materials that I have. Like, I want to paint the rivers a brown color, even under the water. I thought I was going to paint them blue, but that's really for deep sea diorama type stuff. Once you get close to the shoreline, it should be kind of green. And then once you get inland, when you're looking at very shallow brooks, it's pretty much brown. Maybe a little bit of green in it. So I was going to paint it brown with, and then give it some green. Maybe put some rocks in the water. But I don't think I want to do the rocks. Maybe a little bit of talus or ballast. That's a maybe. But not rocks, because at 15 millimeter scale, I think that would be just way too big. And I don't think that the Quatre Bras stream had any kind of big rocks sticking out of it. I think that the farmers would have cleaned those up over the centuries. I also have the dark earth color that I want to paint the town sectors. I do have that in. That came in from Hobby Link. So I want to do that. But I don't want to do too much, because I want, like, specifically the foliage, because I want to do that once I get the AK order in as well. I have some Woodland Scenics realistic water. I plan to use that. And then once that's dried, cured, I guess is what the word is on the street. Yeah, once that's cured, then I'll go back over it with some water effects to give me some ripples and stuff. I want to do all that before I do all the foliage. I know you're not supposed to. I know you're supposed to do all the foliage and all that first, pretty much get everything done, and then jump into the water. That way nothing, because like when you do the foliage, you'll usually do like what I'm doing here. You'll paint an area with PVA, and then you'll sprinkle or sift or whatever you're going to do with your grass, and then once all that's dried, then you'll spray it with like a scenic cement. And I would be afraid that I would spray my river with scenic cement. which shouldn't be too big of a deal, but I think the scenic cement is matte, and I want my rivers to have that gloss look. So I'll do all the preparation for the rivers, just not pour the water. So like I'll paint it, I'll put whatever rocks I'm going to put in there, I'll seal the ends of the tile so that the liquid water doesn't pour onto the floor. Okay, we're making pretty good progress on these on this French. I think by doing these battalions, it's going to put the French ahead of the Allies in numbers of units. Because I don't think I've got any division, I don't think I have one division finished on the Allied side. I mean, the Brunswick a lot of the figures are painted on the Allied side. They're just based for the wrong game. They're not based for my game. They're based more like a black powder slash Napoleon's battles. 4 in a square kind of thing. Now, those of you that are astute and observant, you'll notice that I didn't do just 6 battalions of grass. There is a total of 9. I just finished painting 6. But I also grabbed all the French infantry that was based incorrectly, which I only had 3 battalions left, and rebased them. Because I thought this would be a good time just to do it all at once. Yeah, this Statograss is just awesome. It's like the best Statograss. Okay, I'm going to go radio silent for just a moment. Because I'm going to be chewing down on this a chunk of this energy bar. Okay, my mouth is half full, so just forgive me. But I have a question. And it's not terrain or hobby related. And you don't have to answer if you don't want. If you feel persecuted or you think I'm going to laugh at you or something, don't answer. But if you're okay with telling me, please answer. The question is, not who are you voting for, and a lot of you are maybe out of country, so it has nothing to do with voting. But I'm a political animal, and I keep my eyes on current events and what's going on in the world and stuff like that. And I'm just curious, in our United States presidential election coming up in November, who do you want to win? Now, if you're an American, you're probably going to vote for that person. If you're a foreigner, you're probably basing it on what you think would be best interaction with our new president, with your country. Right? So, because I know there's a lot of Brits out there, Australians watch my channel. I don't know if I got anybody from New Zealand, but I had someone from Korea. I don't know if any of you, any of you are on the stream, which you're probably not. I mean, you might be. It just depends on the time of day, right? But if you're an American or foreigner, doesn't matter. I'm just curious, who would you like to win our presidential election? I'll give you a few minutes, like 10 minutes or something like that, or maybe till the end of this power bar, and then I'll tell you who I want. And it might not be who you think. I have a lot of reasons why I want this person to win. And it might not be what you think. Now, this might alienate some of my viewers. Because some of you might want A to win, and some of you might want B to win. But this is a safe space. I'm not going to persecute you or even, ridicule you or make fun of you if you choose someone that I'm not choosing. That's okay. But I'm very inclusive, and I want everybody to have a chance to feel like you're safe here. But I'm just curious. I want to know what my customers or my viewers, because a lot of you watching this channel might not have bought anything from me. So are you a customer? Not really. You're just part of the community. So I guess I should reword it. I'm just curious where my community sits. What kind of people do we have here? Some of you might not even be very political at all, and you don't even care, or you probably won't even vote. I doubt that, because typically, and you can fact check this, typically, not 100%, a historical miniature gamer, not sci-fi and fantasy, but guys that are focused on hystericals. I play some hysterical miniature war game. Yeah, tend to be 30 plus. And people that play sci-fi and fantasy tend to be, not always, there's always exceptions, under 40. I think when you hit your 30s, your middle age, I guess, your priorities change, or your wants. So I'm gonna guess that most people watching my channel are 30 plus. Not everybody, because I got some friends that are like in their 20s and they love historical miniatures. But that's kind of an anomaly. Well, for one thing, they wouldn't be my friends, probably, if we didn't have similar likes. You know what I mean? So nobody wants to comment? Okay. That's okay. Now I'm going to tell you who I plan to vote for and who I want to win. Again, once I finish this power bar chunk that I've got in my mouth. And if that causes you to see me in a different light or cause you to hate me, then you weren't a very good community member in the first place. Right? Now I should be getting some stuff in today. Might already be outside. I'll go check on that once I get these blocked. Guarantee tomorrow I will be working on terrain tiles for Quatre Bras. So if you come to these Wargaming Weeklies for that, 100% Wargaming Weekly tomorrow. Terrain tiles. What I'll be doing, I don't know. Probably working with grass, paint, glue, texturing it up. Because the paper, it's a really good starting point, but it's not a good finishing point. It's a good base layer. But I definitely got to throw some variety of grasses. Tonight, I'm going to dig out all of my flock. I mean, literally all of it. Everything. Maybe even some sawdust. And I'm going to make a list. I'm going to check it twice of what I want to use where on my map. Some of it I'm probably not going to use at all, because I've got like 30 different types of flock. 31 now with the AK. All right, last base. Hear my neighbors outside talking about moving some rocks. That's what I'm doing. I'm moving rocks, but on these bases. So I got some silicone for makeup, to make like Halloween wounds and bleeding gashes in your arm and your forehead and stuff like that. That's not what I'm going to use it for. I was going to use it on flexible rivers and see if it worked as water. Because realistic water, it wouldn't be any good. Because it dries a little bit too rigid. Mod Podge dries rigid. It's kind of like a resin. It does have resin in it, my understanding is. Now, I wonder if I could pour that into this. Okay. I finished the power bar that I had in my mouth. The answer that everybody's been waiting for is Donald Trump. Okay, you guys have permission to hate me now. I don't know if I can. Oh, okay, maybe a little bit. I don't know if this will bend in such a way that it'll allow me to pour it. I don't want to make a big mess. Okay, it's pretty solid. Okay, I can throw that away. This is Mod Podge and water. So it's a scenic cement. What the? Who the? What the? What did I just draw? My tweezers. I also got a olive drab primer. I don't know, it seems a little dark brown. But it's also just a primer, so can't have everything. Okay. Because now, if you want to know why, like, why would you vote for this man? Because everything that he did in his first term was to benefit America and the people of America. Where Biden, he's not going to run. It'll be somebody else. Maybe a Newsom or a Kamala or something. Maybe even an Obama. And just looking at their policies, I can't bring myself to vote for those policies. Okay, my glove finally busted. Okay, so now I'll have to pull one more out of the bag. Which is no problem. I bought a box of 100. Okay, so those are all the battalions. I'm going to let the Mod Podge dry probably about 30 minutes before I shake off or knock off any of the excess. But then and then tonight I'll record a project update and let you know, let the world know that these are finished. So let me just check a website real quick. Oh yeah, take those off. What time is it? Oh, it's 1 o'clock. Okay. pretty much when I wanted to stop anyway. So this is actually a really good opportunity to stop. But before we do that, okay, some stuff was delivered today. Delivered today, okay. Delivered today, okay. Arriving March. Okay, that's no problem. I don't mind. Okay, so I probably have a box out there. All right, let me go check it. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. And while I was out there, I saw the post lady going down the other way of the road. So she'll be coming back around this way momentarily. But I got 3 boxes. Don't know what's in each of them, but I suspect this, which you can't see, but this box is my rubber. Do believe. We're gonna have to check it. It's probably in a roll. And I hope it'll lay flat. Might not. All right, so do one of these numbers. This is heavy. Wow, 5 pounds maybe? £3.2. Okay. premium rubber. It's actually neoprene rubber, just FYI, for those of you that are curious. Yeah, that's a good thickness. Okay, the packing tape has yellowed over time. Or it was just never good quality, or it was made that way. Okay, this is kind of stuck. Okay, maybe it was done like that on purpose. I've got this 2 mil neoprene rubber that I'm going to make my flexible roads and rivers on. One foot wide by, I think it was 3 foot long. Now I think all my river and road pieces, I'm going to make them in 1 foot lengths. I think. So actually I can cut lengthwise and not make like this super long. Okay. It seems like it's been out in the heat. I'm going to have to set it on my table, put some weight on it, maybe a box or two, to kind of let it unroll. Give it a couple of days to lay flat. I could probably put it outside. Yeah. It's got a good weight to it. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's box one. This one says Laura. Okay, so that's not mine. I wonder what she ordered. I know it's in this. I think this is my silicone. And I was going to use silicone caulk. He said caulk. I was going to use my silicone caulk on my river water effects. The flexible ones. And I got a couple of different ones. Just to see if either one of them, which one would be better. Okay, this has paintability. So this must be okay, this is a latex. Acrylic latex silicone. Okay, so this is just like Alex, but clear. Okay. And then this Gorilla silicone, just straight silicone. Won't yellow over time. Yep, so when I get to making some rivers, I'm going to use a lot of this. Not so much this, but maybe. Okay, so those are my 2 boxes. The 3rd box is for my wife. Yeah, I'm going to give that a little bit extra time to dry. Might even take them outside, let the heat outside dry them. Maybe a little faster. But this afternoon I'm going to be digging up my all my flock from all the storage bins that I've got my flock in, and then get everything ready to work on the tiles. But I also am going to go have some lunch. So thank you guys for coming out and checking out this video of me working on these French battalions. Once I get all that done, I might do a it'll be later tonight, where I'll record each of the battalions up close and show off the 2 divisions complete. You know, with their generals and the cannons and everything. All right. So that's where we're going to end it for today. Thank you for keeping me company, and I will see you in the next one.